Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Monday, the 5th of June. Starting off with the FTSE 100, where things are looking a little bit brighter. Bear trap from below the 200-day moving average, currently rising at 75.30, similar to the bear trap, I suppose, that we had back in December. Obviously, in March, a deeper dive there. But current situation is at above the 200-day line, 75.30, looking for at least the rising 50-day moving average 77.10, and then the crucial sort of level and crucial feature on this chart in terms of the upside, that February resistance line rather, at 78.70. Above that would then open the possibility of a move back towards the 8,000 zone, and best case scenario of 8,300 over the summer. If you're cautious, you wait for an end-of-day close for the RSI back above the neutral 50 level versus 47 at the moment, or a break back above the 50-day moving average at that 77.10 level. On the downside, not expecting it, but if we do break back below the floor of that rising trend channel from August, then there is the chance of a test of the 72 to 7300 area, which is basically post-December support for this market. Moving along to the DAX, where things have not been quite as hairy as the FTSE. Here you can see that we've built on the gap higher that we had on Thursday. Had that before actually on a Thursday, so we're gapping up on the Friday. And we've also got a bear trap island reversal, so gap down earlier last week and then gapped up towards the end of it. The view now is that we're looking for an end-of-day close above 16,000 to give us a retest of May resistance around 16,300, and then the top of the channel there as high as 17,000 as soon as the end of this month. Obviously that would be quite a move, but that's what the charting situation seems to be telling us at the moment. On the downside, the worst we're expecting is the 50-day line, 15,700, which was tested last week, of course. Moving on to the Dow, where we're hoping that finally, as summer dawns upon us, we will get that big break of the April 2022 resistance line. That's equivalent to the February resistance line that we have on the FTSE at around the 78.70 level. Here we've got a rising trend channel from back in August, top of the channel there, 37,000, and we're looking for that at that for the end of next month. Obviously, it might be too ambitious to look at that for the end of this month. RSI now well above neutral 50 at 58, which is perfect for a potential break of that resistance line there, which has been failed at multiple times, so hopefully this is the one. Rising 50-day line now as well. The other times we were trying to break through the 50-day line, or especially in the recent past, the 50-day line was not rising, but looks like the stars may align here. On the downside, worst case scenario, 32,700 at the floor of the rising 2022 channel, and also the 200-day moving average, the grey line there, lurking underneath the support line. On to Bitcoin, which has been relatively quiet of late, still unable to break that April resistance line or the 50-day moving average around 27,700, but staying above the old resistance from February and last August, 25,000. The levels here really basically 27,700, 26,700, which is was the old March support, 25,000, and then the worst case scenario would be a breakdown to the floor of the 1-year trend channel around 23,400. Also, that's the level of the 200-day moving average. On to the stocks, and starting off with a couple of beasters, as they used to be called in the trade. Here we've got ASOS, where even the promise of a M&A sort of gold rush has stopped, has only enabled the shares to rise at around 8%. We've got a resistance line there from last month. That is basically level with today's high around the £4.03 level. So we want an end of day close above that to give the shares a chance of heading back up to mid-May resistance around £4.70. But at the moment, not looking particularly fantastic as far as the reaction that we had to the rumours of a takeover. The main plus actually is really the way that we've had lower lows for the start of June, but a higher RSI trace. So that when we, or if we break that £4.3 level, could be the trigger for a potential move towards the £5 zone, but not really expecting or looking for much more than that at the moment. And obviously this stock could easily retest the lows way down there near the 340 area. On to Audioboom, where I see some people on Twitter are getting excited that this could be the end of the pain. Shares now well below £3 and also below that support line there from back in the autumn. Also an extended support line there in the RSI window has also been broken, so not looking great on that front. At this stage, the earliest one would be calling the shares to break higher would be if that March resistance line there around £3.05 was broken. End of day close above that would then give the opportunity for a move to the 50-day moving average at 360. But at the moment, that is the best that we are looking at, and we cannot rule out further moves to the downside. If we look back, then you can see that the shares had some support in the £2 area, so obviously that's not something that the bulls want to see tested at the moment. Moving along to something which is a happier situation, comes in the form of Condor Gold, and here rising through a rising 50-day moving average, which is a plus point above recent resistance around 31 pence. See the shares retesting the 35 or 36 pence area quite easily, given the way that both the 50 and 200-day moving averages are rising, and the RSI is just pushed through neutral 50. On to something, stock which has delivered something that we were expecting, maybe not quite as soon as it's happened, which is always a good thing. Here we've got Drumz breaking that line of resistance at 7 pence from October, and above 7 pence we're looking for not only the 200-day moving average at 8 pence, but also the top of that broadening triangle from back in September as high as 12 pence, and we could see that as soon as the end of next month, and if we're really lucky, by the end of this month. So a decent picture there on Drumz at the moment. Only back below the 50-day line, currently around 5.8 pence, really delaying the upside scenario. Moving along to Eurasia, where it's also got the 50-day line in view. Here we've seen historically over the last year or so that any pushes through the 50-day line have been sell points rather than buy points, but with the latest revival and double bounce above the 2 pence level, there's a chance of the shares breaking above or holding above 3 pence in the 50-day line and heading up to 4.5 pence by the end of the month, even if they then sell off after that, as they've done many times. The other point to note is that we've had a proper break of RSI 50, which is the first time really that we've had that since back in September. So that is looking good, or looking better rather, while we're above 3 pence. Moving on to a stock which has updated and sorted out its finances today. LiveSafe, here we've had a gap above the 50-day moving average at 34 pence and looking to stretch to the 200-day line at 41 pence. I don't think we've been above the 200-day line since the shares listed, so an end of day or weekly close above the 200-day line could take the shares up to 60 pence as soon as the end of next month. Only back below the 50-day line at 35 pence, really delaying the upside scenario. Moving along to a stock which doesn't get much coverage here, Reneuron, and here broadening triangle base for the shares, looking exciting in the sense that if we can get an end of day close above the 50-day line at 8 pence, we could be heading towards the top of that broadening triangle from back in December as high as 12 pence or even 13 pence by the end of next month. Upside value while we remain above the initial May support around 7 pence. Moving on to a stock which is another relatively rare feature on the Bulletin Board Heroes. We've got SRT Marine Systems, if I can spit it out, and here the shares making good on the target we were looking at before, 65 pence, end of day close above that. We could be heading up to a fresh target there as high as 85 pence by the end of next month. Upside value while we hold above the initial May resistance around 58. So above 58 looking for 85 by way of 65. Just 3 to go now. First one is Tristel, which suppose if it was a normal market, the shares would be up 30 or 40% or much more, but as we're in a rather cynical and upset market, it's only up 15% or so. Here, we've broken a line of resistance from basically the beginning of last year. That was around £4, and above £4, looking for £5.10 as soon as the end of next month, and ideally a bit sooner. The FDA news there certainly deserving congratulations for that company, rather. On to a stock which, a bit like ASOS, had not so reliable bid news. Here we've got Tremor International breaking its 200-day moving average for the first time in a long time. I think the first time since basically the end of 2021. That could signal a trend change, and an end-of-day close above the 200-day moving average at £2.93 could take the shares up to the top of the broadening triangle from November as high as £3.70. Relatively confident that the shares will now break higher given the false flag that we had with the bid news, and that led to a rally which was then sold off into new lows, and then the very volatile day on the 30th of May as well, where we had to test the 50-day moving average. But that's now rising, and now one would assume that we'll not only break the 300 zone, but head up to 370 as soon as the end of next month, after flushing out all the weak hands. Finishing off with URA, which looks like it's finally going to take off towards the appointed targets that we had. First one was around 4 pence, and that's not too far away while we're above the 2.5 pence area. Best case scenario here is a move to the December resistance line projection at 5.5 pence, hopefully as soon as the end of next month. We've got both the 50 and 200-day lines rising, and a nice tight consolidation above old resistance between 2.6 and 2.8 pence at the moment. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.